the Tech on Demand podcast, brought to you by GROWERTALKS, Audio Files Episode 66, Poinsettia Production, When Negatives Can Be a Positive, from the May 2025 issue of GROWERTALKS magazine, written by James DOUKAS, narrated by Bill CALKINS. When negatives can be a positive. Visiting growers every summer and fall during poinsettia production, I get to witness the challenges growers face when finishing a poinsettia crop. For many growers, poinsettia production represents about a 5 to 6 month crop time and the longest crop they'll finish in a year. With a long crop time, there are more opportunities for mistakes, but also time to correct course as issues arise. A mastery, or at least a proficiency in many growth strategies, allow for a grower to select the correct tool from their toolbox, no matter the situation that arises in the fall, to achieve their desired goal for their poinsettia crop. Our ever-evolving fall temperatures around North America have created new issues for growers in managing poinsettia growth, requiring the use of PGRs in the months of September and October, even in northern regions of the continent. But just because our autumns are warmer across vast regions doesn't mean we shouldn't utilize temperature control methods for managing growth, popularized by Michigan State University research of the late 1900s in DIF and DIPS. Using temperature differential, or DIF, the difference in the average daytime temperature minus the average nighttime temperature when our weather and greenhouse structure allows, is an excellent tool for managing growth. Even when a true negative differential, or negative dip, cannot be achieved, a morning dip in temperature prior to and after sunrise, also known as dip, can take some of the vigor out of growth, resulting from a flat or positive differential, or positive diff, day. Morning dips will not provide as much growth control as a negative diff, but a dip can be achieved in more regions across North America and or instituted earlier in the season versus negative diff. Typical negative diffs or dips are 5 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit or 3 to 6 degrees Celsius. As with any tool growers utilize, there are positives, potential negatives, and risks to using diffs and dips. An effective dip and negative diff reduces internode stretch on varieties of poinsettia regardless of their vigor. Both strategies on compact varieties may not be needed in a larger pot size if a grower's behind on the height targets on a compact or low vigor variety, or is utilizing a lower vigor variety in a larger pot size like 8 to 10 inches or larger. The major risk of a morning dip is to drop so low the dew point is hid in the greenhouse and bracts have moisture on them. The nature of a dip, or negative diff, in the mid 50 degrees Fahrenheit or below 14.5 degrees Celsius also lowers the temperature of the greenhouse to an environment where botrytis thrives. The drier west has less of an issue with this than the naturally more humid east and central plains, and it really depends on the current weather pattern for the day, week, or season. Closer to finish and shipping in November or December, this leads to increased risk of botrytis on the bracts and in the interior of the plant. If dew point is hit on the morning of an overcast day, plants can sit with moisture on them for several hours, also reducing transpiration, whereas reduction in transpiration equals less growth or color progression. The closer the bracts are to full color and cyathea open, again, the risk of botrytis increases. There's also the phenomenon of traditional white poinsettias that'll yellow or cream more when kept at lower temperatures, like low 60 degrees Fahrenheit or below 17 degrees Celsius. If keeping a lower night temp, like lower 60s Fahrenheit, and still using a dip or negative diff, the color can change more versus a no dip or no negative diff house. But traditional whites will do this anyways at lower temperatures, which isn't really caused by the dip or negative diff. Most growers tend to accept the slight color change and run a warmer night with dip or negative diff if they have some white poinsettia only zones. White poinsettias are also typically more susceptible to bract botrytis. Thus, the risk of disease is greater if bracts end up with moisture on them due to an over-aggressive dip that hits the dew point. Why would a grower use a lower vigor variety in a larger pot? With poinsettias, vigor and pot size aren't the only considerations when making genetic selections. Response to heat delay, which is a great topic for another article, response to PGRs, stem strength, root durability, and that doesn't even include the aesthetic qualities that our customers see when they purchase poinsettias from their preferred outlet. Whether using a lower vigor variety in a larger pot, achieving a large finished height regardless of vigor, or growing on normally after a period of time that limits growth due to too much heat, positive diff is a strategy to elongate internodes and stretch growth. Many times in August and September, growers use positive diff without even thinking about it. Also because we have no true control of our temperatures, no matter what structures we're growing in at that time of year. Depending on the fall temps, northern growers have an opportunity in late September or October to purposefully use positive diff. Southern growers generally see about a 20 Fahrenheit positive diff without even trying. This leads to excessive soft growth that needs to be countered with PGRs. Soft, stretchy growth can lead to increased disease risk and/or breakage at the time of shipping. A couple scenarios. A customer needs quicker progression of color, keeping bracts warm day and night, but still desires a little temperature growth control, either because it's too late for PGR applications or their greenhouse systems don't allow for micro bonsai drenches. This is when a morning dip is used, as the greenhouse is allowed to warm up naturally during the day. On a rainy, wet day, achieve the dip, but eliminate the dip 2 hours after sunrise and for higher humidity late stage finishing or holding. Use the heating system to keep day temps slightly elevated and running closer to a flat or zero diff, burning off some of the moisture in the air, followed by later purging in the greenhouses prior to sunset or the closing of a heat curtain. The end. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Audiophiles from the Tech on Demand podcast brought to you by Grower Talks. Please take a minute to leave us a positive review. It'll help us reach more greenhouse, garden center, and CEA professionals.